Hello everyone, wishing you all a very good morning. I hope I'm audible and visible to all of you. Can you see me? Okay. Well, I think in yesterday's class we had discussed work done by three-dimensional forces. We also saw how you can find out work done by using graphs. Good morning, Deepak. We also found out that if it is a three-dimensional force, there will be three graphs between fx and x, fy and y, and fz and z. We also discussed some important points about force and work done, that you must remember. Work done does not depend on time interval, it does not depend on motion, and all those points. I hope you are pretty clear with those points. In today's class, what we are going to discuss is something known as conservative and non-conservative forces. So that is the topic for today: conservative and non-conservative forces. Anyone has any idea of what I am talking about? Does anyone has any idea? Have you ever heard this term, conservative and non-conservative force? Anyone? Please raise your hands if you have heard about this term. No one in the class knows about this term? Conservative. Yes, I got a raise hands from the back. No, maybe for something else. Yes, beta, tell me, what is conservative force? No one? You have that mic with you, right? That mic can, you can speak using that mic. Okay, I guess you may not be knowing about this. Let us start with what I mean by conservative force. Now, the best example, was someone raising hand from the back? Okay, I guess not. Okay, in order to understand conservative force, let us first look at some examples. And some of the examples of conservative force that you can think of, the very first example is gravity or gravitation. Gravitational force is conservative in nature. The force of gravity, the force that Earth exerts on smaller things like us and small planets like Moon. Gravitational force, gravity is a conservative force. This is one force that would be coming to us in this chapter. The other conservative force that we would be studying in this chapter and which would come is known as spring force. The force in the spring that we have seen, force in the spring is k into x, where k is the spring constant. These are the two forces which are conservative in nature. Now, what does conservative mean? Now, conservative in English is somewhat different, but we can also relate that term to this wala conservative forces in physics. Now, since we are given an example, we will try to understand this in terms of this example. I hope everyone is paying attention to the class. Okay. Let us suppose I have a block of mass m kept on ground, and I have to lift it to this point. I have to lift this mass to a point which is straight up. The height of this point from ground is h. Is everyone paying attention to what I'm saying? Okay. So I have to lift this mass by a height h, and I find out the work done by gravity. What is the work done by gravity in this case? So I'll write it like this: work done by G, G standing for gravity. G standing for gravity. Do I have your attention in the class?
Sir,
Yes.
your voice is low, sir.
Beta, from my end, my voice is, I think, from my end, the voice is clear. Let me check it. Online class, are you able to hear me, beta? Let me check. Hello, hello. I think my voice is great. Let me check it again. Audio setting. Hello, hello. Is it okay now? Is my voice coming more?
Hello. Sir,
Yes.
can you explain it again?
Is my voice coming now?
Yes, sir, it's coming low.
I have made it maximum from my end. I can't increase it any further.
Yes, sir,
There is-
can you explain it again?
So there is something wrong at your end. Increase the voice for the system. Are you able to hear me now? Am I audible now? Okay. So basically what we are doing is trying to understand conservative forces, and we have taken
Yes,
two
sir.
examples. We have taken two examples, gravitational force and spring force. Now, to understand what is a conservative force, what we are doing is we are moving a block from ground to a height h. Okay. Now, if I find the work done by gravity in this case, if you don't know, I will tell you. You might not know. Gravity force, if I look at this gravity force is always acting downwards, mg. So always acting downwards, whether the block is kept on the ground, whether the block is kept at the height edge. So gravity force is downwards and the displacement of this block is upwards, and gravitational force is constant, it is mg. Now you can easily find out the work done by gravity in this case. What will be the work done by gravity in this case? When I lift the block from ground to the height edge, what is the work done by gravity? Gravitational force is mg, which is a constant force. I lifted it up by height h. What is the work done by gravity? I hope you can tell me this. In this case number 1, I call this case as case number 1. I am lifting it upwards. What is the work done by gravity? Simplest question. What will be the work done by gravity in this case? Anyone? No one knows the answer for this? No one in the entire class knows the work done by gravity in this case? It's a fixed force, it's a constant force. No one knows it. That is horrifying. Anyways, let us hope that we are.
MGH, sir.
Yes, at least say now something. At least say yes, no, sir. If you just keep quiet, that will not help.
Sir.
So that will be equal to minus mgh. Why minus mgh? Can you explain why it is minus? Why it is minus, beta? Because the force is downwards and the displacement is upwards. They are in opposite direction. Angle is 180 degrees. So the work done by gravity in this case is minus mgh. Now instead of straight away lifting it from ground to the platform, I do it in steps. So I take 2 or 3 steps. Then I bring this block here, and then I move this block from here to here horizontally. So let me call this as the second way in which I have lifted this block. I have lifted it step by step and then moved the block to the original position where I wanted it to be. Now, let us say that this height is h1 let us say that this height is h2. I'm just illustrating it. Once you understand this, it will be easier for you. This is h3. Now if I ask you, okay, obviously I have to move it here also. So first I will move it like this, then up, then this, then up. It's very simple. What will be the work done by gravity in case number 2? If I call work done by gravity by the green ink, what will be the work done by gravity in this case? So while I'm moving it horizontally, there will not be any work in the horizontal movement. There will not be any work in the horizontal movement. Why there will not be any work in the horizontal movement? When I'm moving it horizontally, whether I'm moving it towards right or whether I'm moving towards left, there there will not be any work. Why there will not be any work? Why there will not be any work when I move it horizontally?
Sir,
Yes,
there is no displacement.
beta, your voice is very low. I think there is something wrong with the system over there.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
there is no displacement.
There is no displacement. Now, beta, there is displacement. I am displacing it. I am moving it right. Then I am taking it upwards. Then I'm again moving it right. When I'm moving it right, there is a displacement. There is a displacement, but still the work done is 0.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
gravity acts vertically.
So gravity acts vertically and I am moving it horizontally. So the angle between the two becomes
90 degrees.
90 degree. Well done. So the angle becomes 90 degrees and hence the work done by gravity is 0 when I am moving it horizontally. I gave you the example also where I told you a porter or a coolie, when he is lifting weight and moving in physics, his work done is 0 because weight is downward and he is moving forward. His work done is 0, but he is doing work. So work is slightly different in physics. So while I'm moving it horizontally, there is no work done. But while I'm moving it vertically, there is definitely work done. So work done in this case will be minus mgh1. Work done in this case will be minus mg into h2, and work done in this case will be minus mg into h3. So I can take mg outside, h1 plus h2 plus h3. What will be my final answer when I find out the work done by gravity in green case? What will be my final answer when I find out the work done by gravity in the green case? And I will find out that this work done will again come same as minus mgh. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Can I have some raised hands? Okay, so we understand this, that I take the block from lowest point to the highest point straight up, or I take it in a zigzag path, or for that matter, I take it in any path. I'm not going to illustrate the other parts. If I'm going to take this block from A to B, from lowest point to the highest point in any path, the work done is always going to come same. It will never change. Work done by this force, which is gravitational force, will always come same. It only depends on two factors. What is the two factor? It only depends on what is the initial position A and what is the final position B. It only depends on the initial position and final position. Basically, it only depends on initial and final position. It does not depend on path. It is path independent. It does not depend on path. Now, as soon as you think about it does not depend on path, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? That should come to your mind. Do you know of any other thing that does not depend on path? Do you know any other thing that does not depend on path? It does not depend on path. It only depends on the initial and the final position. And that thing is displacement. So you can say conservative force is just like displacement in one sense, because the work done by this force does not depend on path. So that is the first thing that we understand. Work done does not depend on path. You follow any path, the work done by this force will not depend. So I go from point A to point B in different ways. Work done does not depend on path. You would have also heard about this term in thermodynamics. I think your thermodynamics is over. There is one thing that does not depend on path in thermodynamics. What is that thing? We call it state function. For all processes, that thing remains constant. It does not depend on path. Do you remember this? Do you remember that term? What is that? Tell me. Thermodynamics, conservative force, displacement, they all come from the same category. Does not depend on path. Do you remember something known as internal energy or change in internal energy? Change in internal energy in any process does not depend on path, whether it's isobaric, isobaric, adiabatic, polytropic, falana, demaka. Change in internal energy is a state function. It does not depend on path. Similarly, very same lines, conservative forces, work done by conservative forces does not depend on path. Am I clear? Everyone understands this? So you can relate the three things together. Displacement, you cannot forget displacement, that it does not depend on path. It only depends on initial and final position. Number two, work done by conservative forces does not depend on path. Number three, change in internal energy is a state function, does not depend on path. All three things are exactly similar. Now, I told you point number one. Now, can you tell me point number two? What will be point number two here? I've given you reference. You may not know conservative forces. Okay, that is down, but you know what is displacement and what is internal energy. If I go from point A to point B and I come back from point B to point A, what is the change in internal energy or what is the displacement of the particle? Take that, keep that thing in mind and tell me what will be point number two for work done by conservative forces. So that is how you relate things, what you have read and what you're going to read, how you relate them. So if you remember one thing, you can remember three. There are more that I'll tell you. So what will be point number two? Relate displacement, relate change in internal energy, relate you are going from A to B and B to A. We call it loop. I hope you have heard the term loop. Cyclic process. You start from one point and come back to the same point. Cyclic process. What happens in a cyclic process? What is the change in internal energy in a cyclic process? A process that starts and ends at the same point. What is the change in internal energy there? If I move round, if I start from one point and come back to the same point, what is my displacement? No one knows the answer. No one knows the answer.
Zero, sir.
Zero. So what should I write as point number two? What should I write as point number two?
Work done by the force is zero. In a closed
Where?
path.
Where?
In a closed
Which
path.
force? Which force? Where?
Consecutive force.
Consecutive, nahi, conservative.
Conservative.
Work done by conservative force is zero. Where?
In a closed path.
In a closed path. Great. Work done by conservative force in a closed loop is zero. Where what do I mean by a closed loop? Let us take an example. Here, I start from point A. I lift the block to point B. Very simple. Work done by gravity is minus mgh. We have seen that. Now I do the reverse process. What is the reverse process? Reverse process is ulta. I start from point B and go to point A, the green process. I start from point B and come to point A. The green work, what will be the green work done by gravity? When I move from higher point to a lower point, what will be the work done by gravity? Tell me. Work done by gravity in this green path. What will be the work done by gravity in this path? No one answers. It's so sad. It will be equal to plus mgh.
GH.
Yes, it will be equal to plus mgh because now gravity force mg and displacement both are in the same direction. The angle is 0. So it is plus mgh. Now if I find the total work done from A to B and B to A, my total work done in this closed loop from A to B,
Zero.
B to A will be 0. That is correct. So this is the second point. So these are the two things that you must remember about a conservative force. What is a conservative force? A conservative force is a force where, number one, work done does not depend on path. Number two, work done by a conservative force in a closed loop is 0. Will you remember this? Please note it down. These are the two things that you should never ever forget in your life. Work done by conservative forces. Please note it down. I hope you are doing it.
Yes, sir.
Conservative force is same as displacement. It is same as change in internal energy. Yes, someone was speaking. Yes, beta, tell me. What do you want to ask? Okay. I hope everyone has written this. If everyone has written this, then these are the 2 points that are given in your notes, and I want you to note it down the exact same way how they are given. So what I'm doing over here, conservative force, the heading is conservative force. I am moving a particle from point A to point B, and I'm finding out the work done by a conservative force. I have done it in 3 different parts. Part number 1, part number 2, part number 3. Work done from A to B in part number 1 is same as work done from A to B in part number 2 is same as work done from A to B in part number 3. So they have written work done as integral of F dot dl. You can write F dot dr, doesn't matter. F dot dl in all the 3 cases will be same. So this is how mathematically it is written. That is what you need to write. So write. This is how you need to write it mathematically. You have to write it in the form of integral. Integral of F dot dr is 0 in all the 3 parts. Is same in all the 3 parts. That is a conservative force. Integral of F dot dl is independent of path. And what is integral of F dot dl? It is the work done by this force in any of the paths. Do not forget this. Remember this. Displacement, work done by conservative force, and change in internal energy, all 3 are exactly conceptually similar. Yes, Deepak, minus mgh was the work done in the first case, and plus mgh would be the work done in the second case. So the total work done becomes 0. Work done in a closed loop is 0. That is point number 1. No, that is point number 2. Right now we are writing point number 1, and you will write it in the exact way that is given in the book, because you should not be confused. There might be a question that comes, what is the integral of F dot dl? Don't forget that that is work done. And if it is a conservative force, that integral will remain same whatever you do. Simple thing. Remember this. Do not forget this. That is point number 1. I hope you have written this. Let us move on to the next point, which is point number 2. And this is how point number 2 has been illustrated. You start from any point A, you go to any point B, you come back to the same point A. Work done from A to B plus work done from B to A would be 0. And this is how it is written. Notice that there is a gola. That is a gola. Integral ke upar there is a gola. This integral ke upar gola tells us that this is an integral in a closed loop. This gola will come again into class 12th. This Gola tells us that this is integral over a closed loop. So that is the difference between this one and the previous one. In the previous one, it was simple integral. That means it was integral over a open loop. When I put Gola on that, it becomes integral over a closed loop. So f dot dl over a closed loop is 0. Now that is how you write it. How do you say it? You must be knowing the right way of saying this. So you write it like this. You write it like this. Gola integral f dot dl. It is written in the form of dl. You can write it in the form of dr a 0. That is how you write it. That is how you express it mathematically. How do you say it? Now, that might not be important right now, but probably it will become important in the 12th standard. So I will tell you, and you can write it. So it is written in this form. Let us forget this. I will tell you when you come in standard 12. Writing is not important. I hope you have written this much. Integral Gola of f dot dl is 0. Such forces are known as conservative forces, and the work done by a conservative force in a closed path is 0. Will you all remember this? Can I have some raise hand that we have understood this? Great. Now, if one force is conservative, if one type of force is conservative, so it is like two subsets of the universal set. You add this subset with this subset and you get the universal set. So the other type of forces, if they are not conservative, they would be known as non-conservative forces. So what are non-conservative forces? Without knowing anything about these non-conservative forces, can you tell me what would be non-conservative forces? What would be non-conservative forces, and can you give an example of a non-conservative force? The answer is right there on the screen, but if you can tell me with your own understanding of what you have understood about conservative force, what would be a non-conservative force? Just do the opposite of it and you have the answer. So what is the answer? What is a non-conservative force? The heading is non-conservative force, and the answer is this. A force is said to be non-conservative if the work done by or against the force in moving a body from one position to another position, up till now it is same, depends on the path followed between the two positions. Point number one, it depends on the path. It depends on the path. What is point number two? First point is it depends on point. Point number two, on a complete cycle, this work done can never be 0. So work done by this conservative force in a cycle is not equal to 0. In some cases, if I make some particular forces, it might come 0 as well. But commonly speaking, the work done by this non-conservative forces in a closed path will never come 0. What are the examples of these forces? Frictional force, non-conservative force. Viscous force, non-conservative force. Air drag, same thing, non-conservative force. That is why we say friction is an evil. It's a necessary evil because it's a non-conservative force. You have to do some work against it, and that work done is always lost. But gravity is a conservative force. If you lift it up, it does negative work. When it comes down, it does positive work. So the net profit and loss is 0. You don't get anything, you don't lose anything. Gravity, if you do some work against gravity, gravity will oblige and give it back to you. Okay, you have done this work against me, I will give it back. I don't keep any, what should I say? I don't keep any work pending. If you do work against me, I will give you back. But non-conservative forces are not like that. If you do work done against them or work is done by them, it is lost because it cannot be recovered back. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Okay. Now these are the conservative and non-conservative forces. We have also seen examples. Now what we will do now is find out the work done by some of these forces, and we will write their shortcuts, and we will talk about these forces, the work done by these forces in somewhat detail. So let us write the first heading. Let us write the first heading. We have written conservative forces and non-conservative forces. Let us now break and find out the work done by these forces. So the first heading is work done by gravity. So the first heading is how will you find out the work done by gravity? And it is very simple. If you move a block from the lowest point, and you might take it in different paths, and you bring it to some point which is, let us say, at a height h. Now if I call this point as point A, and if I call this point as point B, my first question is, since you already know the answer, what is the work done by gravity in moving it from A to B? What will be the answer to this? I am moving this block from A to B. What will be my work done? Your time starts now. From A to B, what will be the work done by gravity? And the answer is pretty simple. And who is going to give me that answer? They already discussed gravity. So you must know how to find the work done by gravity. So what is the answer for this one? I have not brought it straight up. I have just brought it up a hill or down a hill. Right now it is going up a hill. What is the work done by gravity in this case?
Minus mgh.
Very good. Minus mgh is the answer. So basically, you should not be concerned about the path. Forget about the path. The only thing you must look is where is the lowest, what is the initial point, what is the final point, and how much is the difference in height. How much is the difference in height? If it is going up, gravity is down, so work done will be minus mgh. I hope we understand this. Now let me ask the ulta question. What will be the work done by gravity? Oops, I forgot to write g. What will the work done by gravity in moving it from B to A? If it goes down from B to A, what will be the work done by gravity in this case? And the answer is pretty simple. When it is moving down, it has to be, well done. I'm getting quick answers now. It should be plus mgh. So basically, you have to just think about two things. What is the difference in height? And whether it is moving up or it is moving down. These are the two things that you must remember, and you should be able to find out the work done by gravity. Am I clear with this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Okay. Right. Now the second thing is, let me, okay, I have to do this. Okay, the second force, which is conservative force, and which is going to come, is spring force. What is the work done by spring force? Now I can make you understand this, but I think if we try to understand the work done by spring, it might become complicated to you. It would get complicated. So what we'll do is we will do it later on, when maybe in the next class we will discuss this work done by Spring. We will do it in a different way. That way is simpler. So we'll not go for the complicated way. It will not serve any purpose. So let us take this out. The third one and the most important one over here, which might bring somewhat confusion, is work done by friction. Work done by friction. Now, this is the part that confuses most of the children, most of the students. So I would request you to pay some attention when we are discussing this part, work done by friction. Now, what is the problem here? First of all, you have to understand that two types of frictions are there. One is static friction, one is kinetic friction. So let us first note down the important points that you must remember. Number one, two types of friction, static and kinetic. Number two, you must remember work done is frame dependent. Do you remember this frame dependent? We discussed it in the last class. Work done is force dot displacement. Displacement depends on the reference frame. Force does not depend on reference frame. If there is a force, you will see the same force in all frames. It will not change. But displacement can be different in different frames. So in friction, there might be a confusion. Work done depends on the reference frame. Number three that you must remember. Now, normally, we understand that if it is a kinetic friction, the frictional force is constant. Do we understand this? Frictional force is constant in kinetic friction. Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Frictional force, if it is kinetic, it is constant. If it is static, it varies. It might be less, it might be more, it might be, it can range from 0 to maximum value. Now again, I will have to rectify my statement. Why I need to rectify my statement? I'll tell you that also. Even if the friction is kinetic, the force is not constant. The force varies. And now you will say, sir, what are you saying? You are contradicting yourself. 5 days ago, you told us, 10 days ago, you told us that kinetic friction is constant. Now, coming into the chapter of work by energy, you are saying that the kinetic friction is also variable. Remember, when I say constant, kinetic friction is constant in magnitude, but it varies in direction. Why will it vary in direction, sir? It's very simple. See, if I take a block in a zigzag path, and if I assume that normal reaction is constant, even if I assume that the normal reaction is constant, the direction of force is continuously changing. Yes or no? So friction is one force whose direction continuously changes. Even viscous force. Imagine an airplane, or imagine a car that is moving on road. Now it is facing two types of non-conservative force. The first force is frictional force, which is trying to resist this motion. The second force is air drag. You might see all these supercars or all these cars which are running in Formula races, Formula One races, they are streamlined. They are streamlined because you can see the nose of an aircraft, a fighter aircraft, it is tipped. We call it streamlining. Why they are streamlined? You might see a bullet car. It is in the shape of like this. The engine is shaped like this, streamlined. Why it is streamlined? Once it is streamlined, it cuts the air. Once it cuts the air, the resistance of air decreases. Now, if I have a train which is moving super fast, or a car, super fast car, which is streamlined, which is moving, it is moving in zigzag path. It is not moving on a straight road. It is moving like this. Now, even if the kinetic friction is constant, kinetic friction ka direction is continuously opposite to motion. Do we understand this? If this is a zigzag path and my car is moving here on this zigzag path, at this point, if I see, the direction of friction is like this. But if I come to this point, the direction of friction becomes like this, even though the value is same. If I come to this point, the direction of friction is like this. When I'm here, the direction of friction is like this. Friction is continuously changing its direction. Viscous force is continuously changing its direction. It's always opposite to the direction of relative motion. Now, gravity is not like that. Gravitational force does not depend on the direction of motion. Frictional force is very special. It depends on the direction of motion. So the third point that you must remember is frictional force. The direction of frictional force is opposite to motion. Direction of frictional force is opposite to motion. It will keep on continuously changing. It will keep on continuously changing. Now, since it keeps on changing, comes a small problem. If it keeps on changing, comes a small problem. Now, what is that problem? If I go from point A to point B, if I go from point A to point B in different paths, if I go from point A to point B in different paths, this is path number A or 1. This is path number B or 2. This is path number C or 3. If I go from A to B in different paths, work done by gravity, which is a conservative force, is same. But frictional force, even though it is constant in magnitude, it changes in direction. Since it changes in direction, the work done in this path will not be same as work done in this path, and it will not be same as work done in this path. And that is what, that is why it becomes a non-conservative force. It depends on path. It does not depend on displacement, does not depend on initial and final position. It depends on path. So while I am finding the work done by frictional force, I should not think about displacement. So whenever I'm writing work done by friction, if I write it like this, integral of F dot dr, I am making a mistake, because here delta r or dr refers to displacement. I cannot use displacement for kinetic friction because it depends on path. So whenever you are finding out the work done by friction, you must think about the path, which path it is following. And in case of kinetic friction, use delta r will be the length of your path. It cannot be the displacement. It has to be the length of path. And that is how the definition of work done by this force changes, because it does not depend on displacement. It keeps on continuously changing its direction. Do not think of displacement in kinetic friction. Always think about the path in kinetic friction. Am I making some sense, or have you lost it? Have I confused you? Or is it clear to everyone why I have to think about path in a frictional force and not in gravitational force? That is why you have to be very careful while you are trying to find out the work done by frictional force. Am I clear? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? To find out the work done by frictional force, think about the path. To find out the work done by gravitational force, forget about the path. You don't have to think about the path. You just have to think about the initial and final position. So this is another point that you must remember for frictional force. There is one more point that you must remember. What is that point? Suppose there are two bodies. one body on the top of other. This is body number 1, M1, and this is body number 2, M2. Both are moving with different velocities with respect to ground. This is moving with velocity v1, this is moving with velocity v2. So they are moving with respect to each other. They are moving with respect to each other. Now if I imagine that v1 is greater than v2, v1 is greater than v2, and again this is a revision of what we have done in the previous classes. V1 is more than v2, and let us say that this is rough, this is smooth, this surface is smooth and this surface is rough. This surface is smooth and this surface is rough. What will be the direction of friction? It will be what type of friction will act between M1 and M2? Will it be kinetic or will it be static? That is the first question. Can you answer this? The question is, what type of friction will act here between block 1 and block 2? Whether it is static or is it kinetic?
Kinetic friction.
Very good. Kinetic friction. The second question is, what will be the direction of friction on block 1? What will be the direction of friction on block 2? What will be the direction of friction on block 1? What will be the direction of friction on block 2? If you understand this, you will understand the next point. The best way to understand a point is with an example.
Left side.
Well done. On left side, that will be the frictional force on block 1, because block 1 with respect to block 2 is moving forward. So block 2 will apply friction on block 1 in the backward direction. If friction on block 1, let me not call it F1, because if I call it F1, you might get confused. Let me call it as F. If the friction on block 1 is F on the left hand side, what will be the frictional force on block M2 and in which side?
Again left side, sir.
How can friction be on the left side for block 2 beta? It cannot be on the left side.
Opposite to velocity.
It should be on the right hand side, because with respect to block 1, block 2 is moving backwards, so friction would be forward. Remember, friction does not oppose motion, it only opposes relative motion. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Friction is also an action-reaction force. So if the force on block 1 is backward, the force on block 2 would be forward. Okay, now if I find the work done by this friction is backwards, but the block is moving forward, work done by this friction will be negative, but the work done by this friction would be positive. So if I have kinetic friction between two bodies, on one body, friction would be doing negative work, and on the other body, friction would be doing positive work. Do we understand this? Yes or no? So that is the best way to understand this example, that work done by kinetic friction, and I will just dictate it now. Work done by kinetic friction. Work done by kinetic friction. So I'll write it like this: delta W F K. Work done by kinetic friction on one body. On one body would be positive. Work done by kinetic friction on the other body, OTHER, on the other body would be negative. Do we all understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we have understood this? Everyone at the back, forward, front. Great. Now, the next question. And if you understand this question, you will be able to do all the question that might come. If I add these two works, work done by friction on first body and work done by friction on the second body. If I add these two work, dhamak, what will be my answer? Will it be 0? Three options are there. Will it be 0? Number 1. Will it be positive? Number 2. Will it be negative? Number 3. And I'm waiting for your answers. 0, positive, negative. 1, 2, 3. If I add these two works, work done on first body plus work done on the second body, what will be my answer? Will it be 0? Will it be positive? Will it be negative? I
Zero,
hope
sir.
you have 0. Okay, how many for 0? Please raise your hands. 3 or 4 students are for 0. Girls on the right are just sitting doing nothing.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, for 0 I have some option. What about number 1, positive work? How many of you see will the work done come positive? Okay, no one sees that. Chalo. Third option. How many of you see that the work done by friction when I add these two work done will be negative? One person. Who is this? The lone hand. And the lone hand wins. Democracy never wins. Not always. The work done if I add these two will be negative. That is why it is lost. It cannot be 0. Beta, if it is 0, friction has done positive work on one body, friction has done negative work on the other body. If it becomes 0, there is no work lost, there is no energy lost. It cannot happen. So the total work done would be negative. Deepak also raised his hands for negative. So Deepak, congratulations. If I add these two works, the answer will be always negative. If I add these two works, again putting 2 adds here. If I add these two works, my answer will be negative always. Am I clear? Now you can understand this. See, block number 1 is moving faster. It will cover more distance. Force is same. Remember, force on block 1 and block 2 is same. Block 1 is moving faster. It will cover more distance. Block 2 is moving slower. It will cover less distance. Force is same. Negative work is more, positive work is less. So the net is negative. Do we understand this now? Block 1 is faster. It will move farther. Block 2 is slower. It will move less. Force is same, but the distances are different. नीचे वाला moving more, ऊपर वाला moving less. So नीचे वाला work will win and नीचे वाला work is negative. And that is why the entire answer is negative. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that the answer would be negative in case of kinetic friction if I find out? Because these are the questions that will come in multiple choice in JEE Advanced. Don't get confused over there. That is why I'm spending so much time. This is not a concept. This is a question that I'm asking you. Same question will come in the exam. Please remember it. We have discussed kinetic friction. We have discussed kinetic friction. Okay. Now, again, remember, this work done that I'm talking about is work done with respect to ground. Work done with respect to ground. Now, if I change my reference frame, that work done would come different. We will do that question in the form of a question. So it will be easier for you to understand it. Because if I do it here, you will just get confused. Since we have talked about kinetic friction, it's our duty to talk about the unsung hero, the other hero, static friction. Now, this is interesting. Work done by static friction. No, I should not write it as S. I should write it as FS. Work done by static friction. Now, let us think about work done by static friction. Again, let us bring in a block, and I place other block on top of it. The best way to understand a question is taking some examples. M1, M2. Now I want static friction. So if I want static friction, this one is moving with velocity v, and the two blocks are not moving with respect to each other. So what will be the velocity of block M2? Remember, we are talking about with respect to ground. Block M1 is moving with a velocity v with respect to ground. With what velocity block M2 will move? Since there is static friction, they will move together, right? They will move together as one unit, and therefore they will move with the same velocity. Am I clear? Am I clear? Now, in this case, when they are moving with the same velocities, they are not accelerating. Both blocks are moving with the same velocity. There is no relative motion, but there is a tendency of relative motion. In this case, if they are moving with the same velocities, or even if they are moving with different velocities, well, friction becomes kinetic. If they are moving with same velocities, friction becomes static. So the friction is static. And in this case, the value of friction is also 0. And hence, work done by friction on this block as well as work done by friction on this block, if you add it, it will always come as 0. Because whatever is the motion of this block, the same will be the motion for this block. They will move together, whether they are moving with the same velocities or they are moving with the same acceleration. If I, instead of velocities, if I put accelerations, they are moving with the same acceleration. Whatever force is acting on block 1, same force is acting on block 2. If the force on block 1 is leftwards, flows on block 2 would be rightwards, same forces, and the displacement would be same because they have the same velocities and same acceleration. Displacement would be same. In this case, the total work done by static friction would be 0. So basically, whatever work static friction is doing in the lower body, the same work in the opposite direction it will do on the upper body, and that is why static friction behaves like somewhat conservative force, because the total work comes out to be 0. And that is the reason in a chapter known as rotation, which I think would be starting, wherever you have static friction on a rolling ball, you can apply law of conservation of energy. And law of conservation of energy is just coming. So remember this, work done by static friction is 0. The total work done by static friction is 0. Whatever work it does in one part, same work it does on the other body, and hence the total work done becomes 0. And this is a very important concept that will come to you obviously in this chapter, as well as on the chapter in rotation, where you would be having static friction, still you would be conserving energy. What is energy conservation? Coming to you right now. In the next class, we will be discussing more about conservative forces. We will be doing 2 or 3 problems on conservative and non-conservative forces, and then we will venture into the aspect of energy. So next class would be very important. What have we discussed in today's class? Let me summarize it. We have discussed what are conservative forces, and we have seen there are forces like gravity and spring force, on which work done does not depend on path. You go from any path, work done is same. You move in a closed loop, work done is 0. Such forces are known as conservative forces. Then you have non-conservative forces like friction, where work done depends on path. Friction is very important because even though the magnitude is constant, the direction of friction continuously changes, and therefore in friction you must always think about the length of the path and not on displacement, because it is non-conservative force. Why it is non-conservative? Because the direction keeps on changing. We have also seen that if it is kinetic friction, the total work done by kinetic friction will be negative. On one body, if it is positive, the other body is negative. Negative will always win. But in case of static friction, which is a very important concept in this chapter as well as in the chapter on rotation, work done by static friction on one body, if it is coming as positive, on the next body, other body, it will be coming as negative, and hence work done by static friction, total work done by static friction will turn out to be 0. This is today's class. I hope you have enjoyed it. If there is any doubt, you can always ask. I rest my case here and the class is dismissed. If you have any doubts, you can ask. I hope you have a nice day. Wishing you all a very good day. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.